a different angle, that we can look at, is asking for feedback from them on your own session, and then starting a conversation that way. And then maybe that is, a foot in the door to then go and visit, those coaches and watch on their sessions. So I think you've just kind of on the email side stand out. And obviously another one, just coming back to you there, Ellis, you kind of did the email, use emails to your advantage, and you're able to watch Leeds train recently. Kind of, how did that come about?
Yeah, you kind of explained it pretty much. So I was, at the time, this was in 2017 into 2018, alongside my role at my old college. I was pretty new to goalkeeper coaching, and I had to take that on. And the head coach trusted me with it. And I was coaching 4 goalkeepers every day alongside the rest of the team training. And really new to it. I was buying books, looking online, YouTube videos, trying to get creative. The reality is I knew my own limitations in that area of coaching, and it was something I needed to grow in massively, but also quite rapidly. Just after about 3 months or so, I was sort of culminating a portfolio of ideas together for the next season that was coming up. And I was trying to get creative and think how I can improve and structure this goalkeeper side of my coaching, and take it to the next level. And I reached out to Marcos Abad, who's the Leeds United goalkeeper coach, literally just a shot in the dark, shot him a message, sent him a YouTube video link that had like a link to a playlist of videos I'd put on private, and sent him a link and said, "Hey, Marcos, I'd love it if you could look at some of my videos. Any feedback is really welcome. I'm new to goalkeeper coaching. I'm a massive Leeds fan, born and bred there, love what you're doing with as being a part of the club, and appreciate anything and any guidance you've got." And to be fair, like 2.5 years on, he'll reply to me at the click of a button now, and we're now friends. And it's crazy how that's just developed. And I was so fortunate enough, through reaching out to that, I ended up going to visit and observe Marcelo Bielsa over a 2-day weekend with my dad. My dad got to come along too, which was a bit of a dream for him. And it was phenomenal just getting to be there. And Marcos met us at the gates, brought us in, got us the visitor passes, showed us round, introduced us to all the staff, some of the players. It was just more than I could have hoped for. One direct message on Twitter that I shot to him with a YouTube link 18 months earlier. So it's crazy how things can develop. But again, it goes back to my point of just embrace a little bit of vulnerability. I mean, I was an absolute novice goalkeeper coach, sending arguably a top-class professional goalkeeper coach some of my work and asking for him to basically drill it into the ground and make me better. And turns out that he actually quite liked my ideas, which I also thought was crazy. But now here we are, and I've been fortunate enough to have a great experience off that. So again, just being willing to be vulnerable and taking that risk. Sometimes it sounds cheesy. Sometimes you feel cheesy sending the message. I'd be lying if I said I didn't at the time. Sat there thinking, "Oh, what am I doing? This is really quite embarrassing." But it's not when you stood there watching Marcelo Bielsa run a session, and then, not many people get to do that. So it's certainly like a once in a lifetime thing that I was fortunate enough to do.
So that one email paid off big time for you.
Yeah, massively.
That's awesome. I think that's probably something that you would now feel comfortable doing, with a different club, different coach, if you wanted to go somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't mind me sort of saying, like, one thing that came off this visit, like when I posted, I shared my experience on the blog, on the website, and I shared a blog experience of it. And to be fair, it got loads of traction. I mean, I had the Yorkshire Evening Post chief sports writer for Leeds United sharing it on his pages. He had me on a podcast to talk about the experience. Again, just stuff I did not expect to happen and cut the bad of it, but great experience for myself. But also the downside of that was, people then started messaging Leeds United using my name, asking to go for a visit, who I'd never spoke to in my life. Hi, my name's, I don't know, like Luke Burgess, and I want to go watch Leeds United train. Ellis Riley passed me on. No, I don't know who you are. I have no idea where this has come from. So that was a downside, because I got the club messaging me 2 weeks later, after I visited, saying, "Are you passing any emails on and contact info?" And I absolutely wasn't. And Marcos knew that, because Marcos wasn't the one getting the messages. The club were getting emails through their all different departments, ticket office, blah, blah, blah. But it turned out that about 6 people had used my name as a reference to try to go in and watch, and literally didn't know any of them. So that was challenging a little bit at the time, because I actually called the club and I apologized quite strongly on, and said, look, I feel responsible for this, even though I did ask the club that I could post a blog at the time, and they were more than happy with me posting the blog. And, I was very careful with what I shared. Obviously, no pictures, no videos, things like that. So everything on my end, I felt like I'd done my due diligence to do the right thing and keep it as professional as possible. But it's tough, some people sometimes take too many liberties. And, I almost, to those people who did that, like, if I could have given them advice at the time, I would have said, look, just embrace things yourself and just reach out yourself to, and make it personal, be genuine and be honest, because when you're trying to bounce off what somebody else has done, it's not genuine. It's not personal. It's you're doing something else for your benefit. And I'm a big believer in, like, you get as far as you want to go in life, but you're going to get that far by doing things the right way and making things personal to you. And that's big feedback that I would have significantly to any young coaches, especially coaches in their late teens, early 20s coming through. Do not get sucked into, kind of just trying to piggyback off other people and what they do. I just think it's a dangerous game to play at times. And it's big feedback that I would give, to be honest.
That's awesome. Quite an all-encompassing answer, actually. Positives and negatives of I guess more traditional online networking, somewhat away from social media. But I guess
I think it's important. Sorry, Joe. I think it's important though to touch on the negatives of it as well. I think that's really important, and I think it's important people know about them as well. So
yeah, you got to be prepared for those things, right? Got to be prepared for both. So thank you. Really good answer. And again, last bit, I guess, just for the online networking, we're doing a lot of them right now. Is it's getting involved in webinars. I think that's me and Lloyd talked about it. Obviously, we started a webinar. Initially created this because we wanted to talk about topics that we found interesting with coaches that we knew, maybe we didn't know, bring people together, and then engage in things that we want to then learn more about or gain more ideas. So that's another one that we've put into the online networking, and something that we would say get involved with more, whether it's answering questions in someone else's webinar, asking people to talk about certain topics, maybe creating one yourself. That was a big reason behind what we're doing here. It's just get as many people, coaches, like-minded people together as we can, and then talk about different things, get some great guests on to talk about their experiences, and then hopefully we can network and learn more that way. Well, I'll finish up there. I know we've got formal and informal learning next, so I'll pass you all back to Lloyd. And thank you, Ellis, for your answers there.
Yeah, so just moving on from that, and it's great to hear Ellis going into a lot of detail there. Formal and informal learning for me is a great way of networking, but also maximising your networks and your connections through that, whether it be institutionalised on courses, events, or whether it be going for a coffee or observing other coaches. So I'm going to race through mine a bit and kind of fire some questions in at Ronnie, who's kindly joined us as well. So one thing I do want to touch on is the leveraging, because I feel that's probably the biggest thing I've kind of learned is one of the most recent benefits of networking from informal learning or formal learning, is kind of using your contacts to maybe use their own contacts to maybe meet new people rather than starting from scratch. Actually, if you've went out your way and kind of met new people that are more knowledgeable or more experienced or of a similar level, actually tapping into their resources and people that they know to kind of improve and become better at areas of the game that you feel actually, through reflection, I need to be better at this. So Ronnie, just a question for you really is how have you networked with others on courses, whether it be or informal learning? Is Ronnie there? You know what? I might have to unmute him. Ronnie, do you want to unmute yourself?
Okay, can you hear me, Lloyd?
Yeah, I can, yeah.
Okay then. Yeah, I mean, basically, I don't know whether it's probably worth giving you my kind of experience of how I actually got into coaching, not coaching, but kind of got to where I am at the moment. And it came from what you're talking about in terms of the networking. So when I done my coaching badges, I got kind of identified as a coach with potential. And it was a guy called Ian Leckie who was doing, he was the level 2 coach at the time, and he was working for Newcastle United. It was a community football at the time, which is the foundation football now. And I met a guy there called Doug Thorburn. Not sure if you know Doug. Yeah. Good coach, great coach, good, really nice person. So we kind of got talking. He was working for the club at the time, and he was working for the academy, Newcastle United. And I just kind of, again, in terms of that networking, I think he realised, that I was keen, I was hungry, I wanted to achieve, I wanted the challenges, that everything that coaching kind of brings your way. And I kind of just, said, can I come along and, maybe observe some sessions, not realising how kind of things would materialise from there. And it's just kind of that initial networking in terms of kind of meeting somebody, giving your first impression, if you like, that you are kind of honest, you're trustworthy, you kind of, all those good things that you look for in players, you need in terms of yourself as a coach. And Doug then kind of, realised that, I had a lot to offer, and he kind of opened that door next for the interview at the academy. And obviously, met Joyce, and kind of, everything's kind of gone from there in terms of just that one little kind of opportunity. And I think that's what coaching is about, really, in terms of the networking. But then those opportunities come along, and you've either got to take that opportunity, or it'll kind of pass you by pretty quickly, as the football does in the game, so it's just kind of really taking those opportunities. And sometimes it's not just a kind of conscious thing that you're going to go and network somebody to get something from them. It was everything I was doing was to benefit myself, in terms of, watching good experienced coaches, and the detail they put in that, in the sessions. And then from that, kind of the opportunities come from that. Yeah,
that's great. And you mentioned it just before about first impression, which kind of can allow us to skip onto the you bit. I mean, how have you felt you've created a good first impression? Because I know just from working with you, you've met the likes of Beardsley and Rafa, kind of Newcastle idols pretty much. So
yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I've been given opportunities to go and watch, like Ellis himself, he's watched Leeds. I've been fortunate to be given the opportunity to watch the first team at Newcastle on numerous occasions, from some of the coaches that have been involved at Newcastle. And I've actually taken part in a few of the sessions in terms of, some of the under-23s, and, they've been a player short. So I've, just jumped in every now and again, over the years. And probably legs can't take it these days, but I did it a number of years ago. But it's just those, like I say, I think people realise that you are, it's kind of, you are honest, you're kind of trustworthy, you're someone that's kind of not going to take the mick, if you like Ellis said there, not being kind of, too kind of giving everything away, and kind of putting everything out there and saying, I've done this, I'm this, it's kind of, just because I think football is a bit of a close-knit society, so it's It's, you know, people don't want things going out too far, you know, and especially at pro clubs.
Sure.
It is in terms of you know, the first team, if you like. But in terms of the coaches, once you get to know people, as I'm sure everyone's experienced that, you know, things open up pretty quickly for you.
Yeah, that's great. I think it's went really quick. I think Zoom are only allowing 30 minutes here, but I really appreciate both your insight, Ronnie and Ellis, for sure. Kind of just discussing some of the topics we've thrown on this PowerPoint. I have recorded it. I will try and send it out. I don't know about file size and stuff, but we'll look to send that out in the next day or so. And we'll send obviously this slide that we've put together. But it'd be great to get some feedback on stuff that we've put on this PowerPoint. Future webinars would obviously look to have kind of a design with maybe a theme that people have suggested. Me and George spoke and kind of planned some in case people don't feedback, which is fine. But yeah, I know George wants to touch on Soccer IQ, which he's mentioned.
Yeah, obviously we mentioned it earlier. Soccer IQ, there's 4 of us, myself, Ellis, and then 2 other coaches that we're working on. What I'll do when we follow up this email, we'll drop the link in there just so if you are curious, you can take a look and see some of the work we have done and some of the content that we've created.